There's a specific kind of quiet that settles over you when you read good economic news. Unemployment is down. Markets are hitting highs. But you still feel that familiar, sharp knot in your stomach. On paper, it's supposed to be reassuring. But here's the truth we don't say out loud. Millions of us feel more financially anxious now than we did years ago, when the numbers were objectively worse. It's not a coincidence. It's not that you're doing it wrong. It's just how we're wired. Today, I want to explore why the economy, as reported on the news, and the economy as we live it in our own living rooms are often two different languages. We're going to talk about the psychology of the quiet anxiety, that persistent hum that doesn't go away just because the Fed says things are stabilizing. Let's talk about that gap. Think of two neighbors. Both work full-time. Both pay their bills. One reads that unemployment is holding at 4.3% and feels a literal sigh of relief. They see a stable world. The other reads that same number, and their mind goes to a different place. That's still millions of people without work. And if the jobs report is too strong, the Fed might raise rates again. My mortgage renewal is coming up. My car loan interest is already high. If rates go up, I'm squeezed. Same data, two completely different emotional translations. This is where behavioral psychology lives. Economists call this rational, but to us, it feels like a constant, low-grade emergency. We've been trained to believe that if we just looked at the charts, we'd feel better. But the charts are aggregate. They describe the whole country. They don't describe your kitchen table, your specific debt, or the specific way your industry is shifting. Why does our brain do this? We have to talk about something called negativity bias. Evolutionarily, your brain isn't built to be happy or content. It's built to survive. Our ancestors didn't survive because they focused on the 50 berries they found. They survived because they focused on the rustle in the bushes that might be a predator. We are wired to assign more weight to threats than to gains. When you apply that to modern money, the math breaks. A $50 loss feels like a threat to your safety. A $50 gain feels like a nice but temporary bonus. When you see a strong economy, your brain doesn't just see growth, it looks for the catch. It asks, if things are so good, why do I feel like I'm running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up? This is the hedonic treadmill. As our income rises, our definition of normal rises with it. The promotion that should have felt like a massive win becomes the new normal in 3 months. The stress doesn't disappear, it just changes shape. We aren't failing, we are adapting to a system that is designed to keep us wanting and worrying about the next level of security. There's a layer deeper than biology. It's the culture. We were raised on a story that says financial security is entirely an individual project. Work hard, pick the right investments, don't buy the extra coffee, and you'll be fine. That story has some truth to it, but it also hides a massive burden. By making security an individual task, we've effectively told ourselves that every time the economy shifts, every time healthcare gets expensive, or a sector contracts, or interest rates climb, if we feel pain, it's our fault for not being prepared enough. We start running internal audits. Did I save enough? Should I have gone into a different field? Am I behind where my parents were at this age? The news isn't just news anymore. It's a mirror. And when you look in the mirror and see a system that feels unstable, you don't blame the system. You blame yourself. I've been looking at research on financial stress, and the biggest predictor of anxiety isn't how much is in your bank account. It's perceived control. People who have $10,000 but feel they have no control over their expenses are often more anxious than people with $1,000 who feel they have a solid plan and understand their levers. When you feel like you are at the mercy of central bank decisions or global market shifts, your brain interprets that as a lack of agency. And a lack of agency is the fastest route to high-level stress. This is why resilient economic data often makes people feel alienated. The data tells you the machine is working, but you feel like you're the one being ground up by the gears. So, what do? First, stop trying to use national headlines to make yourself feel better. They weren't written for you. They were written for the aggregate. Second, move from worry to calibration. Worry is a closed loop. It's just noise.
News. Ask, what is the specific impact on my debt, and what is one small move I can make to buffer against it? The goal isn't to stop being anxious. That's a human reaction to an uncertain world. The goal is to move that energy from the background, where it just drains you, into the foreground, where you can turn it into a plan. Good news and unease aren't opposites. They're just the texture of a modern life. You're not falling behind. You're just experiencing the reality of a system that is complex, fast, and often disconnected from the human experience. Take a breath. Look at your own math, not the national average. That's where the real power is.